Race conversations. Let's do it. So, in honor of Black History Month, Vitoria and I, my white friend, we decided to talk about race. I know that as women, you have a lot of struggle, and also as a black man, next month is Women's Month, right? March starts with women,
yeah.
right? And we'll probably talk about your struggle. But today we're going to talk about what it means to be a black man in America. There is multiple different perspectives, and we've heard a lot of things in the radio, and we believe that each person's experience is different. And today we want to talk about my experience, what it means for me to be a black man who came from Haiti, migrated here, eventually became a U.S. citizen, and what that has been like for the past, 14 years that I've been here, right? So,
what has been your experience since you moved from Haiti and to America? What's your experience?
My experience has been, that's a very good question. My experience has been very different than what you hear in the media. Right? It's my personal experience. I understand there is a lot of people out there that go through a lot of struggle, and the struggle is real. There's a lot of progress that needs to be made in America. But I believe that coming from Haiti, a predominantly black country,
right,
where I was not subject to blatant discrimination, right? I know in Haiti there's discrimination, there's colorism, but it wasn't my sort of experience. I went to high schools with kids that were around the same type of, the same status. Yes,
right.
Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. And that helped a whole lot. It was, most of the people looked the same, most of the people behaved the same. Some of us had cars, some of us didn't, but it was never an issue, really,
right? Yeah.
Right? So being here, I think I kept that same sort of mentality, and I also think, have I been stopped by the police? Yes. Have I been discriminated or felt I was threatened? No, right? Being here, do I walk outside and see people clutch their purse? I can say that I have, right? Do I go into stores and have people follow me around? I don't know if it happened, right? I see people doing their jobs, right? But when I walk in, do I see that they follow me, person as a black person? No, right? So to me, it's always been very different. When my car breaks down, I see a police officer, I stop them and ask for help.
I do feel like, in the past couple of years, a lot of that has been brought into light. Some of the situations that, black people experience with police officers. How do you feel about that? What was your experience in that aspect with police officers?
First of all, yes, it's a very good question. First of all, I am appalled at what's been going on when it comes to this, right? I understand that a lot of people, there's one killing is one killing too many when it comes to the police. My personal experience has been completely different. There is that only one time when I first came here that I got stopped by the police. There was 5 of us in the car, 19, 18 years old. I kept looking back at the officer, and after looking at the 4th time, he stopped us and asked us to get out, patted us, asked us if he can pat us. I didn't know that I could say no at that time. I would have told him no, just, it's part of bucket list. I'm gonna get arrested, go to jail for one night. Well, anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But so let me tell you, I was driving this this old car that kept breaking down. Oftentimes, I broke down, I saw a cop, I waved them down, they came to me, and I told them, hey, can you please push me out of the way? Can you help me? They did. I've been stopped by officers all the time, multiple times. And they tell them, do you know why I stopped you? I'm like, no, I don't, or yes, I do. And usually they would come and sort of be stiff, and eventually, after we had a few verbal exchange, respectful to the two of us, things go like smoothly. Now, I've been stopped just once for one speeding ticket for the past 4 to 5 years, right? 5 years, 6 years. I only got stopped once, got a speeding ticket. So my experience is very different, right? I don't think I have a big frame of reference.
Right.
But even when I do, I'm a gun owner. Even when I do, when they stop me, they know that I have a gun. Am I carrying it? No. Right? So I keep my hands on the wheel. I try to diffuse. I know having friends that are officers, I know that no stop is easy for both parties. Am I fearful of my life? No. I believe that the cops are here to protect and serve. I don't believe that I'm going to get shot. I think maybe that makes a real difference.
Yeah, that's interesting point. Do you think that your experience with the police, or just as a black man in general, is different because we live in South Florida where, it's diverse. We have Hispanics, Haitians, people from all over the world. Like, do you think that translates to the rest of the United States, the rest of America?
I have some friends of mine who lived in South Florida who are getting discriminated against all the time, right? I think having South Florida being so diverse is a big plus.
Right.
And the places that I've lived in Kendall and Cold Springs and then Boca Raton. I believe that in the places that I've lived, they've always been welcoming, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm usually the only black guy in my groups, right? I'm the affirmative action in all my group of friends, right? But it's just the way my network is.
That's interesting. So, you are a black man in tech, and I think that, you're saying that you are usually the only black guy in your groups and in your network. Do you think it's because you're in tech? Is that like your network of friends that are predominantly white?
Yeah. Being in school in South Florida or going to FIU, there was a lot of Hispanics. There was some white, some maybe a lot less black in that field. Being a software engineer, being a computer scientist, right? And the places that I've worked at just so happened that they were predominantly white or sometimes Asian, and moving to Ultimate Software. So the thing with me is, I hate when people say they don't see color. I know there are color. I acknowledge that, but I don't walk in a room thinking, "Oh, am I the only black person here?"
Right. It's not in your mind.
Right. It's something I can think about. I just walk in the room and I'm being myself. I'm being genuine. And I remember being at UKG and one of my friends says, "Look, did you see that there's only 2 of us here?" I was like, 2 of what? Like, there's so many engineers here. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, "We need more of us." It didn't register that she was talking about color. Up to this point, and I'm working at Ultimate Software for 7 months now, I never realized that our team only had 2 black people. To me, we were just engineers. And then on the other side, we had some more black people.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit of your perspective, I think, in that.
A lot of my perspective,
of how you think and how you see the world, I think. But I want to keep going in that direction of tech. Do you think that your color has made an impact of your salary, like either less or more?
Ooh, yes, that's a very good question. I remember back in the days when I was being recruited to go to Google, and around the time there was this big push for equity and diversity and inclusion. And I was like, hell no, why would Google choose me? Literally because I was black. And I felt that was an affront to my intelligence. That was like an assault to my intelligence.
Right.
I want to be chosen because I'm good. But come to find out, I couldn't get in any of those places. Right? So my color might have given me advantage. I think. I don't know. I only think what I get in the media and what I guess that Google's doing. When it comes to salary, I've always negotiated my salary. Right? Every cent. Nobody owes me money. I tell them I want to get paid $60K. I'm happy with that $60K. Right? I need to know what I'm worth. And I'm okay with getting paid. Now, if I find out that regardless of your color, you're getting paid $90K, or maybe you dealt better. I'm not saying they shouldn't do a better job paying equitably. But I'm the CEO of my own career. I need to choose where I work. I need to know what's market value. I need to know how much I want to get paid. Nobody owes it to me, and I need to go out after it. So I always felt I've done that. And I always felt I was paid enough for what I was doing, right? Mm-hmm. And I would ask my friend at times, if we say the company's saying they're paying us equitably, let's put it on the table. But nobody want to share the salary.
And that's a problem. I think that not sharing salaries it's not good for the people that work in the company.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I guess to answer your question more directly, has my color ever somehow affected my salary? I do not think so. I don't know. But I've always negotiated every penny that I got.
Yeah, you made sure that you were getting paid what you think.
What I think, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not seeing enough of black people in tech. Do you think that there is a change that's going on? Do you think that there's diversity? Do you think that tech is more inclusive than other careers? Like, what's your perspective in that?
For better or worse, I've worked in places that were very welcoming too, right? I've never felt any kind of discrimination in the workplace. That speaks volume, right? I've worked for over 10 years, over 14 years in different places where it was always like, hey, Dari, he's a happy guy, come here, right? I believe that a lot of work has been done to include more people in the field. Those are life-changing jobs.
Yeah.
Right? You start getting paid 70K, right?
Yeah.
So, and it goes up from there, entry
Yeah.
level. So these jobs are given to women, to anyone who wants to do it. But I think as a society, we do a really poor job at mystifying or making math and STEM something that, so I'm not good at math.
Yeah.
Every girl will tell you, I'm not good at math.
Yeah.
You know, or
Especially women, yeah.
every woman will tell
In
that's
STEM.
such a disservice.
Yeah.
And there are some black people in some communities without the best schools. They've never left that community. They don't know any better.
Yeah, and that's an issue that I think, as someone that grew up in communities that were predominantly black and Hispanics, I think that that's something that I saw, that the educational system for those communities are worse than, the rich communities. And it's kind of what goes on in America right now, where a lot of blacks, or people of color, they're more into that low end community.
Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate.
And that's why we, in tech, we don't see as many black women in tech. We don't see as many black men in tech, because how do you get there if you're that 12 years of school, like that one, if it's not solid, right?
No, 100%. And I also believe, on the other hand, the companies have to do a better job recruiting intentionally.
Right.
Right? They need to recruit women, not just to fill out your stat sheets. Maybe they could do blind hiring. But if you do blind hiring and you have more white person that applies, then by default they have a better chance, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have some sort of way of you not knowing who you're getting, but still get probably black people, Hispanics, women. So you make sure your team is diverse. Not saying a substitute for skills. They need to be able to do the job and excel at it. But you have to give them the chance to sort of improve their mental, like they say.
Yeah, awesome. You have 2 daughters. They're super cute, and your father. How do you raise them in this environment that we have in America? Like, what do you teach them?
Oh, it's crazy, because on one side, they live in the country dealing with blackness that I never had to deal with.
Right.
There's so much discrimination that they hear on the news, or they will hear on the news all the time. Wherever we go, like in soccer, they're usually one of the 2 black girls there. We live in places that are inclusive, but still they start noticing. So you have to work that fine line in telling them that the color of your skin is as much of a disadvantage as you allow it to be, right? I tell my cousins and my daughters, like 2 and 4 right now, no one owes you. If you want to get the 500K, that's fine. Nobody owes you that. It's your job to build the empire, to make sure you get paid that, or to bust your ass, look for another job. Go to the place where you can get there, right? So we raise them knowing that when we see the police, we can't tell them police is bad, because I don't believe police is bad. You gotta walk that fine line. And when you see an officer, we see officers all the time. They get on their knees, they play with the kids.
Yeah, it's tough too, because these are the people that you're supposed to trust. These are like, how you if you're, God forbid, your daughter is going through something, like she won't feel comfortable like calling the cops. Like, that's tough.
It is. So how you tell
tough.
them, like, look, there is some police shooting happening of people of certain races, but also those people are the people protecting you. So if they stop you, do I need to be scared? I'm like, no, you don't be scared of the police. They're here to protect and serve, but also keep your hands on the wheel, right?
Take the precaution.
Take the
right?
precaution, because it's kind of hard on both sides.
Right.
But one thing I think, like in closing, that is hard for me is the fact that sometimes when I tell that part of the story, I'm like, look, 14 years here, I don't know if you call it coasting, but I've not been a subject of blatant racism or discrimination. And people tell me I must be naive. I must not see it. When I tell people my story, all they can see is discrimination. And I think that in the mind of a carpenter who has a hammer, everything you see might be nailed. Look, I know there's a lot of discrimination happening out there. There's a lot of people, black people, women, Hispanic people, going through the thick of it.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, this has not been my story. And I know many people whose story is very similar to mine. So I know America has a lot of work to do. It also has come a long way.
Yeah. You know, acknowledge that there is a lot of change that has been happening, although that there's still a long way to go. But I think that from what I see from you is that you tend to focus on the positive and have a positive perspective, and I think that's important if we're gonna keep going in this direction to making, you know, America a better, safer place for everyone, any color, any skin, any race.
Yes.
Any gender.
Yes. Whether you want to make America great again or you want to build back better, it's true that we have to do it together.
We have to do it together, right?
And making it safer starts with us, self, the man in the mirror, right? We all have to reflect. And yes, I believe that my way of seeing the world, and even try to give that to my kids, has helped me a lot getting out of all those scenarios. Because by default, I don't think I'm at fault or I'm at a disadvantage. I'm lesser than. You know, I think we're on the same sort of footing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you mean me harm because you hold a gun. You're a police officer. I think you're still here to a fault, I believe in the good of humanity, and that has helped me a bunch. And that's what I wish for all of us.
Me too. Well, this was great. Dahi, I love that, you know, we can put this out there. I think it's a very different perspective in this subject, but I think that I loved hearing your story. I loved hearing, and yeah, I see your side, and this was awesome.
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to next month, the month of March, where we can talk about your side of the story.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Better. All right? Thank you, Vitoria. You're the best.
You're the best.
All right. Thank you, Manny.
Manny's like getting the BTs. How was it?
Test, yeah.
Test 1, 2. Well, maybe that could be blooper. So are we doing with glasses on? No glasses? What does it look like? Does it look better with glasses?
Go ahead and ask some questions, Vitoria.
No glasses.
In honor of Black History Month.
Yes.
How has been? Oh, fuck.
All right.